Yo YouTube, GK's back with another Final Fantasy 16 video. For those that follow the channel, you know I am super hyped about this. I'm one of the people who think Final Fantasy 15 set the groundwork for this and loved the idea of moving forward and not into the past. So I'm gonna update you on Final Fantasy 16, a little bit what's been going on, and I'm gonna show you a clip. When I first saw the trailer for this game, I had made a video that it was going to be M-rated, and that seems to be confirmed, which I am super excited about. The first mainline Final Fantasy game to get that mature rating. I, however, count type 0 since it is numbered, but regardless, I am super excited to update this, and I'm going to start featuring comments on the channel on the videos. So how it's going to go is that since I follow multiple stories and make different types of videos, it's going to be a comment on the last video about that topic. So the last time I made a video about Final Fantasy 16, which I do have a playlist for because I do plan to keep making more Final Fantasy 16 content, Alice A posted this. Alice A said, might be the first FF I play, and I really hope that this FF, just like Final Fantasy 15 brought in new fans to the franchise, I really hope and I really do think that Alice A will not be disappointed if this is the first Final Fantasy they play. I'm super excited, and this comment came from this video. Check out this clip right now. Final Fantasy 16 got revealed and nostalgic fans are pissed, and I'm absolutely loving it. I'm so glad that Square Enix went with this direction. They basically put the middle finger up to those fans who complained, them nostalgic ass Final Fantasy fans. So hopefully I can bring a different angle to some things we're going to see and hear about Final Fantasy 16. This is going to be an M-rated numbered Final Fantasy title mainline, which we have not seen the likes of. I do hope you enjoy the video, and if you do, leave a like, because that lets me know I should make more videos like this. All aboard the hype train. Choo choo. That was kind of corny.
Yo, it's the Grown Kid Talk Show. Yo, it's the Grown Kid Talk Show. Yo, Grown Kid Talk Show. Yo, it's the Grown Kid Talk Show.
So I pulled a couple articles for today. One is from DualShockers to talk about the M rating for the game, which I had predicted and I think is kind of true. Final Fantasy 16 has been rated for mature people by PEGI, but it might change in the future. This had me a little worried, but I don't think it's going to change like Final Fantasy 7 did. Game Rant ran an article by JJ Bronson. The Final Fantasy 7 remake toned down a scene to avoid an M rating, and that of course was the massacre scene where you're walking into the Shinra building and Sephiroth has just left a trail of blood and bodies. I don't really think we're gonna have to worry about that with Final Fantasy 16, as their first trailer showed that it was going to go that route, or at least it was obvious to me at the time. There's an interesting bits from a 15-page interview on Final Fantasy 7 Remake that's released. Next installment is already in full development, which is a really good thing. They couldn't go further with the Madam M massacre scene because otherwise ratings would go up, and Roach was supposed to have a battle in chapter 14. I don't know if I'm gonna really follow up on this. I just wanted to throw a little bit out there to show that ratings do change. But back to the article by Mahad Karhat. A new PR email from Square Enix for Final Fantasy 16 reveals that PEGI has rated the game for mature people, meaning that kids and shit can't play it. Now, does that make the game less accessible? Of course it does. M ratings definitely hurt the accessibility of a product. Look at Disney movies, they're all rated E or teen because they want that audience. M-rated games, however, sometimes can transcend those normal rules because it's a video game, and parents are sometimes a lot more lenient with that. I do get that, but it does mean that there will be a little bit of a less of an accessibility. I don't care because I just want a good fucking story, and I'm a grown kid, so I don't give a fuck. Here's that little blurb that got everybody talking about the officialness of the PEGI 18, and I do believe Yoshi P also mentioned it. The legacy of the crystals has shaped our history for long enough. Look at the PEGI 18 at the bottom. It's provisional. Provisional does mean that it might change. I don't really see it changing because they came out so strong with that blood and gore and those themes that I just don't see it changing that hard, and especially when we start talking about how long it's in development, the potential release date, and more themes of the game, I really don't see all of that getting changed like they did with Final Fantasy 15. Admittedly, they were gonna go super dark, but then again, they were worried about the ratings. I really do feel like Square has finally said, fuck it, we're gonna make the game we wanna make. without holding back like they should have with 15, especially an M rating. For those that don't know, the Final Fantasy XVI official website is up and has been up for a little while now, and I just wanted to make that clear to everybody so you can go see the information for yourself about the characters, the world, the lore. I really think I want to do some character profiles of the areas in like a dope kind of reading and talking about what they actually are in their notes, as in there's tons of information on this site, and I was just so excited to get into it. I kind of want to figure out how I want to present that in terms of a series for Final Fantasy 16. I'm just super hyped. So to catch you up a little bit, let's talk about Naoki Yoshida, or Yoshi P. Yoshi P is the producer of Final Fantasy 16. Best known for his work throughout the majority of Final Fantasy 14, which I do play. I love Final Fantasy XIV. It is arguably the best MMO out right now. Final Fantasy XIV has become the daddy of all of them. This is the director, Hishiro Tadaka. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Best known for the work on Final Fantasy Heavensward expansion. So he's worked with Yoshi P before, as well as Last Remnant, which was kind of like a standalone RPG that I always wanted to play when it first came out, but I'm pretty sure it was an Xbox exclusive back then. I do think the game had a lot of elements from Final Fantasy, no doubt about it. It was actually a little bit better than an okay game, I thought. I thought the combat was fresh and the world type of lore is very much what we're kind of getting that feel from in Final Fantasy 16. This necessarily wouldn't have been the person I would have maybe chose for such a big product. I do believe people need to get chances, and the chemistry they have is there and is apparent, so this is rather good news, even though it's not the top big name over there at Square Enix, especially since I have full faith in Yoshi P can put this shit together and bring it home and tell his story the way he wants to do with no compromise with that M rating. I think this is a boon. I just wanted to catch you up on who the director and the producer are. Now, Games Radar posted this article 2 days ago, everything we know about Final Fantasy 16, release date, platforms, and more, by Melanie Hetfield, Heather Wald. So the big takeaway here is that, and now we know that Final Fantasy 16 will be a PlayStation console exclusive that's coming to PlayStation 5. We had already kind of thought that it would be exclusive, but I just think that this further rams home the point I've been saying, that exclusive titles work and can be successful. Why? Because all of the effort is thrown into that exclusivity. I feel like that's a gripe that a lot of people will use against the game. Exclusivity just means, to me, a higher quality product. Look at Horizon, God of War, Days Gone, the list, Ghost of Tsushima, the list goes on. And this is a very good thing, especially for Final Fantasy 16. I'm super hyped about it. Exclusives for the win, Sony for the win, and this is a console seller. The next big thing I want to talk about is that apparently Square Enix has been working on Final Fantasy 15's follow-up, Final Fantasy 16, for at least 4 years in some capacity. This is great news. Why this is great news? Because it's going to lend a little bit of credence as to the projected, suggested, theory, rumor of the release date of this game, which I am excited to say is a lot closer than we think. So Corey Plantet for Inverse writes this about the possible release date. There's no official release date yet, but producer Yoshi P confirmed in official press materials that the next big information reveal is scheduled for 2021. While it's possible that the game won't be released in 2022 or even 2023, a Square Enix recruitment page translated a Gamatsu could indicate a release date before the end of 2021. A possible release date by the end of 2021 is fucking fantastic. About 5.5, 6-ish years, I think that's perfect. Now, they do have a lot of things done in the game, the core elements, the core story, the core mechanics. They said that in the articles. Go check any one of the articles out for more information for yourself, but I think this is great news. So just to reiterate, we got a PS5 exclusive, we got an M rating, and I think that's going to stick. I don't think that's going to change. And we have a possible end of 2021 release date, not to mention a full website is up. Tell me what you think about Final Fantasy 16. I've called it a big fuck you to nostalgic Final Fantasy fans. They were hating on it so hard, and they still kind of do. You know, you see the whispers, you see the threads and shit. However, if I do see some more hate coming to Final Fantasy 16's way, I will make a follow-up video to that, because I believe that Final Fantasy needs to move on to the future, and Final Fantasy 16 is that future. because Final Fantasy 15 built that foundation, and I'm just so excited for it. I mean, look at this. Look, Clive looks fucking dope. Like, this is just dope. So let me know what you think about Final Fantasy 16. Would you be interested in a character world profile type of video where it's not exactly theory and lore crafting, it is just a literal retelling of what we know so far about our characters and the world itself? I think I'm going to do it. Maybe a little motivation from you guys in the comments would help. Shout out again to Alice A for commenting and being the first comment of today's video. I will try to do that every single video as long as the comment pertains to the topic matter, whether negative or positive, as long as it pertains to the topic matter of that video for the day. So in this case, it was a month ago from the last Final Fantasy 16 video, but who knows, tomorrow could be a Cyberpunk video, and I'll grab one from the video you guys hated yesterday. I know I talk a lot, I might have rambled, I didn't rant because Final Fantasy 16 looks fucking awesome. I'm the Grown Kid, and I'll catch you back in another video.